can you find jobs that are going to actually help you grow?
Great. Now I'm going to pretend like I thought of that. I've heard that when I am interviewing for a new job, that it's best to lead the conversation about salary if I have the opportunity to. Is that true?
I think that most people are really uncomfortable talking about money. And so if you're uncomfortable talking about money and you fumble through, you're not winning, right? You've got to come into a conversation. If you really want to lead that conversation and talking about salary, the best way to get comfortable talking about money is to talk about money. So much of salary negotiation is a performance art. So you should have someone in your personal circle, your professional network, your professional community that you can say, hey, I want to rehearse this. I'm going to have a salary conversation with this recruiter. I've been in 3 interviews now. Nobody's told me how much money this thing actually pays. And I want to start off the conversation. If you have that conversation with me, I'm going to say, well, Andy, here's how I'd approach it. Think about it like this. Is say, hey, we haven't had a conversation about salary yet. I want to make sure that we're on the same page and better understand where you see the comp is for this role. That may be something that I could be really uncomfortable saying in my regular everyday life and talking about money. But if you and I rehearse it a few times, I'm ready to go. And so you got to be ready to have that conversation. If you're going to lead it, lead it.
My fear is to bring up money too early because I don't want to eliminate myself from consideration for the job. So I wait and I wait and I wait until I'm basically one of the only candidates left, or maybe the only candidate. Maybe they're offering me the job and then they end up saying like, it pays this much. And then I'm scared to say like, whoa, that's lower than I thought.
Yeah. That's so much lower than I thought, right? Listen, I hear that from candidates all the time. And if the compensation isn't right, you're kind of already disqualified from the role, right? If it won't pay your bills and you have that conversation in week 2 versus week 4, neither of you have lost. It's just that this isn't the right role or the right opportunity for you. Starting that conversation when you feel like, hey, I think this is getting serious. Maybe we should have the conversation about how much this pays. You're not really disqualifying yourself. You and that recruiter are just having an honest conversation.
Yeah, that's good. And I like what you said about like, it's not always just salary too. There's a million ways to, I don't know, is skinning the cat like a word, a phrase people use anymore? But it's like stock options or benefits, 401k stuff. There's all the vacation days. There's things you can negotiate along the way that can make it right for you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I always tell candidates, particularly women and people of color, to make sure that you understand the totality of the compensation model. That salary and bonus is great, but many of us have never negotiated for equity, or we don't necessarily understand the stock options piece, or we haven't fully vested in 401ks or really understood that because our parents didn't have those options or that sort of thing. And so I always say that salary is one thing, base and bonus is great, but there's so much money out there beyond just what happens on the 1st and the 15th of the month.
How do I find a job that's going to help me continue to grow so that I can keep earning more money?
I love this question because it really is important not just to land a good job. You want to land a job where you're going to potentially grow your skills, grow your compensation, grow your experience, all of those things. The best way to do that is to really research it on the front end. Right now, LinkedIn has a new listing called our 2024 Jobs on the Rise. It looks at the jobs over the last 5 years that have seen continuous growth in demand, growth in compensation models, all of those things. And when we look at those are jobs that have been able to sustain even during economic sort of uncertainty. That's a good place to look. It looks across industries as well. When you're looking for a job that will actually allow you to grow, think about in the recruiting process, are there opportunities for continuous learning, right? Will I be able to learn new skills in this job? Are those skills going to be the skills that are going to be really valuable to me moving forward? So when you look at things like Jobs on the Rise, it tells you the jobs, but it also tells you the skills you need for those jobs, right? Most of the jobs on like probably the top 20 for our Jobs on the Rise didn't exist 5 years ago. So people had to get new skills while working for most of those jobs. And that's where candidates, they're thinking, how do I grow in my career? Think about where those skills are that are going to be in demand across industry, across the economy, and sort of, across the test of time.
That's great information.
Yeah.